Welcome back to Rüniverse. I'm Andrew, and in this video we're doing part 4 of the Prism tour for Rüniverse, going over all 8 facets or colors. In this case, we're looking at the green facet, Emry. So Emry's 3 main traits are animals, plants, and growth. And Emry is one of the 2 facets that is designed to be the introductory. There's red versus green, straightforward introductory facets. So there's not a ton of complexity going on here. There are some standout cards that are a little bit more complicated, perhaps. And in fact, even drawing like mechanical distinctions between the 3 focus traits here was a little bit challenging. But what I came up with is definitely not a hard and fast mechanical link between the traits as we've seen before. But for the purposes of this video, we're going to say that animals are just based on straightforward having creatures with utility, play guys and do stuff, straightforward strategy there. Plants are about going maybe a little bit more wide, playing more creatures, which is similar to what Sphene is wanting to do, one of the adjacent facets, the yellow-green one, which we'll get to in a future episode. But you'll certainly see some of that, and I've kind of assigned it to the plant conversation for the purpose of this video. And then the third one is growth, which is about having the biggest creatures, making your things, maybe growing them over time or just having them be naturally big. And there's definitely a thematic bleed between those mechanical elements. As you'll see, I've got some plants in the animal category, for example. But let's take a look at what Emry has to offer. So just a quick glimpse here. We've got Thorny, an animal mage, Deborad, a plant mage, and we have Sylvia, a growth mage. And we'll see her again in a second as a representative of the Emry gift. So let's start out with the animal category, and first up we have Protector Wolf. So it is a wolf, and in case you are unfamiliar with the trait system, we've talked about traits so far in this series, but it's important to note that Rüniverse is designed to have a very flexible trait system. So for example, in Magic the Gathering, creatures have their own list of creature types or creature subtypes. Artifacts have a list of artifact types, enchantments, and lands, and even instants and sorceries. They actually can share a list of enchantment, instant, and sorcery subtypes. And the only one I can think of is arcane. In Rüniverse, I definitely didn't want to be that strict and separate things. If a card is a fire card, I want there to be fire spells, fire creatures, and so on. But I went even a step further than that, and I have a hopefully intuitive system of branching. I don't think I ever got around to making the definitive tree yet for how this works, but again, hopefully it is intuitive until that exact list is created. But I'm rambling on and haven't explained what I'm talking about. A wolf is an animal, which means a card with the wolf trait counts as having the animal trait, because a wolf is an animal. So we have Protector Wolf. It says, while being evoked by a mage with an animal focus, I cost 1 less. So this is kind of an animal focused tribal card. And you might say, well, then why isn't it an animal? Well, a wolf is an animal, so it is. And then this is just straightforward with Taunt. And this is a really nice common, because if you have the right mage, being able to play this on turn 2 for 2 as a level 3 with Taunt is pretty nice. So that's part of the animal focus strategy I was talking about, of just being kind of straightforward creatures that do their job. Next up is Rhinoceros, level 4 uncommon, as a trample ability that can attack, and if it survives, it can attack again. So it's kind of a pseudo-relentless ability. Arguably, this is what relentless should be. Next up is Sorex, a level 3 common vanilla, no special abilities, just a level 6. Emry is intended to be the biggest and beefiest of the facets, so having a common level 6 is supposed to be a little bit special. I actually do have a mistake in Saf, where I let Saf have a level 6 common with an ability, and I've had a moral problem with that ever since, trying to decide, do I need to bump that up to uncommon? I mean, it actually originally wasn't uncommon, and due to slots and stuff, I moved it down to common. I've been wondering if it needs some kind of nerf just to make Sorex stand out a little bit stronger. But we're not talking about Saf, so let's just pretend that Sorex is the biggest and beefiest common. Next up is Sprightly Flarf, level 3 with Vim. So it's not an animal, but it does the job in this category here of just being a powerful, straightforward creature. Next up, we have 2 plants here, so definitely breaking out of the thematic mold in order to show up in this category, but Cactus Dancer is a plant that has Deadly, which is nice as a level 2 common. And then this really powerful uncommon plant, another creature that does its role really well with Relentless and Regenerate. So after I'm in an attack, I heal. Normally creatures don't heal their damage until the end of the turn. So if you were to, say, attack with a Relentless creature, untask it, or let's say you attack with a Rhinoceros, and let's say you attacked into a level 2, Trample will let it untask, and then it will attack again, but it still has that 2 damage on it. So if it attacks another level 2 creature, that's going to be enough damage to dispel the Rhino, whereas Rose Knight doesn't have that problem because it will regenerate in between. So it's not quite as big, but it's a bit more efficient at only level 3. It's easier to play, and then it does have the unconditional Relentless untasking ability and the Regenerate. Next up, we'll look at growth cards, and growth cards are about being the biggest or making your smaller stuff bigger. So we'll start out with Sylvia again, and here we'll take a closer look at the Emry gift, which says creatures controlled by your mage with the most creatures get level +2 until the end of your next turn. So it's basically just saying, hey, they're all going to grow. So again, we've got an Emry gift in growth, an Emry gift in animal, and an Emry gift in plant. She happens to be the growth mage with the Emry gift, but mechanically speaking, it is definitely more of a growth ability. Next up is Suiform Sprout. So it is a plant and an animal as a boar, and I think you'll see that theme play out more. Things are plants, things are animals, things are growing. Emry is kind of homogenous in that way as one of the straightforward beginner colors, but it's a level 1, so it costs 1 to evoke, and it has strength 1, so it's just a level 2 for the price of 1. We've got Boorish, which is part of this vertical cycle, so it's a level 2, but it functions as a level 4. And then, of course, we've got the rare part of that vertical cycle, which is a level 3. That actually is a level 6 once it's in play for the low cost of 3. And, of course, in this case, the symmetry of these cards, not only are they level and strength number, but it's their number of pips as well. So it's kind of a nice, smooth fit for the 3s across the board there. And of course, if you know Rüniverse, you know that these take up slots in your deck construction. So playing a rare card is going to take up more slots than playing an uncommon or common. So here we have Cedar Size, a level 2 spell that attaches to a creature as Vim to give it an extra life and gives that creature level +2. So definitely a growth thing here, whereas these are just big. This is a card that actually makes something bigger. Similarly, the Egg of Burgeoning Vitality has the Buddy ability, which means basically the way this card plays is you're going to evoke it for 0 because it's a level 0, and on your next turn it will untask as normal, or rather it'll untask at the end of your turn and be available on your next turn. And then you'll be able to task it to pair it with an ally using this Buddy ability. So you would task it, choose a buddy, perhaps a Suiform Sprout that you also played on your first turn. And now the Suiform Sprout, in addition to its strength, is going to benefit from Symbiosis, which says my paired ally gets level +2. So now here on your second turn, you have a level 4 Suiform Sprout ready to attack. And then if for some reason on the future you choose to buddy up with a different creature, then the Symbiosis effect is going to apply to the new buddy as opposed to the old one. It would no longer be paired with its previous buddy. Next up, we have another egg. The Egg with Horns this time, an uncommon, costs 1, and every turn at the start of its mage's phase, it gets a level +1 counter. So you won't get it the first turn you play it, because your mage's phase will have already begun, unless you're somehow able to roam this over to another location. But for the most part, you're going to play this on turn 1, and then on turn 2, it's going to untask as a level 2, or again, untasking at the end of your turn, but it's going to be available for the first attack as a level 2. And then if your opponent doesn't deal with it, it's just going to keep getting bigger over the course of the game, of the next few turns. We have got Growth Spurt. A creature gets level +2 this turn, and this is the focus trait common for growth. So if it's evoked by a mage with a growth focus, it also puts a level +1 counter on that creature, so it can give up to level +3 for a turn, and one of that can be permanent, again, if it's evoked by a growth mage. If you just need a burst of strength. If you want permanent strength, however, we've got Oaken Size. So this is the big boy daddy version of Cedar Size. So again, rarity matters here. This is a level 2 spell for common. This is a level 3 spell at rare, but it's going to attach to a creature and give it level +5. And again, if you're unfamiliar with Vim, the way Vim works is if the creature with Vim dies, it loses the Vim instead. So for example, if you've got Boorish and it's a level 4 that only costs 2, and then maybe on turn 3 you play Oaken Size to attach with it, you now have a level 9 creature because Strength 2 plus base 2 plus 5 from Oaken Size, you've got level 9. And if that level 9 creature were to somehow die, it would just lose its Vim instead and drop down to level 4. So the spells that attach as Vim can definitely be pretty strong. And last up, for growth, we have the Spike Leaf Wolf, another confusing one for the purpose of this video because it is growth and a plant and an animal, so it's just all of Emry combined into one. And it grows off of plants and animals. So after my mage evokes an animal or a plant card, I get a face down Vim, and might means it gets level +1 for each of its Vim. So it wants you to play with plants and animals, and if you do so, it will grow. And for those of you who care about such things, this is one of the 2 cards in the set that I actually illustrated. Most of the game is from stock art packs that I purchased, but this one is an Andrew original. Okay, so we had some tripod issues, so we're switching perspective here, but next up is plant. So we're saving some more wild cards for the end, but here we'll take a look at plant, and here's our Boreal Liege, very powerful level 6 creature. So not only do you get a creature that is level 6 for the cost of 6, but Wild Call 2 means you're going to get to pull 2 cards from your Wild Summons deck. So the Wild Summons deck is a type of token creature that is unique to Rüniverse, which is a stack or a deck of 7 token cards. And the way you resolve this Wild Call 2 ability, or Wild Call in general, is you're going to shuffle up these 7 cards. Now on their backs I have a different type of token, but you would shuffle these up and you draw 1 card, and that is the one that you get. So if it's a creature, you're happy because one of the 7 cards is actually not a creature, and so you have basically a 1 in 7 chance of missing and not getting anything. Now Wild Call 2 means you get 2 pulls, so even if you miss on the first one, you might still hit on the second, or you might get a creature on the first and miss on the second. And in fact, the more of these token creatures are in play, the smaller your deck is going to be, your Wild Summons deck, and the more likely it is to hit that no creature. So it's a kind of a weird anti-synergy with itself, that the more Wild Call you have, the more chances you have of hitting the no creature. But if any of these creatures die as tokens, they go back into the Wild Summons deck to refill it for later Wild Summons. So our Boreal Liege lets you pull 2, and so that's kind of why I put it into this category of plants, where you're going a little bit more wide, and of course that it's also a tree. Next up, I put Boulder Grump. So this could have fit in the animal category as just a creature that's doing its job, but because it is defensive, honestly, I can't justify it. It says plant on there. It just felt like a different vibe from the Deadly and the Rose Knight, and so I put it here. But I thought maybe it gives you more time to go more wide or to go more tall, whereas the other creatures are built to get in a little bit more with attacks, although the taunt on the Protector Wolf says otherwise, so I have no justification for this. Next we have Critter Speaker. So this is a Vix, and we were talking about the flexible trait system before. Vix is not an animal because it is a made-up magical creature. It is also not a plant because it's just not a plant, but with the Wild Call ability and me deciding that plants were going to mean to go wide for this video, it fits into this category. It is a Wild Call, so you're going to get something out of the Wild Summons deck. And then we have another plant. This one, it lets you draw a card. So again, definitely in that gray area of just creatures doing creaturey things and various abilities, but getting to draw a card, that's another creature you can play. So it's going to help you go wide a little bit more than the ones I put in the animal category. And then we've got Lore Leaf, which is another way to pull from your Wild Summons deck. It is a relic, costs 2. And whenever you receive a gift, which is a weird trigger because you can't control when you receive gifts, that's just off of your first draw for the turn, or when one of your bonds is broken, you might hit a mage, in which case you'll get a gift, in which case Lore Leaf will get a charge counter. So this is definitely a bit of gambling type of effect, but you can task it and remove a charge counter, so you kind of get a double gift. If you get no gift, this does nothing, but if you get a gift, you get the gift plus you get the ability to wild summon. And if you don't get any charge counters, you never hit a gift while your Lore Leaf is out, but you're playing a wild summons based deck, although keep in mind that anti-synergy I mentioned before, so that's risky territory, but they're all going to get Wild Drive, and that means all the cards that you do summon from your Wild Summons deck are going to have drive, and drive is basically a haste ability that lets the creature attack the same turn it's played, because normally creatures enter tasked, and drive lets them immediately untask. And finally, another card for the plant category, which really isn't about plants, but Wild Call just straight up lets you pull a wild summon at the cost of a level 1 spell only. It's an uncommon, but most of the wild summons, or in fact all of them that are a creature, are a level 3. So being able to play a level 3 creature on turn 1 with just a slight risk of missing is pretty powerful uncommon. This could easily have been in the animal section as well. Again, green is green. And then finally, we've got a few wild cards that I didn't necessarily felt fit into any of the previous trait categories, although not like I was being too strict about it anyway. But first up, we'll take a look at Worm Forms. This is a level 6 spell, and this one actually attaches to one of your mages, or specifically the mage that evoked it. And it's going to give that mage the ability Dragon Battle Mage 6. Now this card might look slightly different from versions of this you've seen before. Basically, I added the line of text that you return any other attached shapeshifts to your hand. So if the mage already has a shapeshift card attached to them, the worm form will return them. The mage can only be shapeshifted into one form at a time. So this is kind of like a future-proof errata for adding other shapeshifts to the game. So you can't be in worm form and, say, a bear form at the same time. But that's just a minor feature that might be different from this version from a version anyone who has purchased the game might have pulled. But the main feature that we want to care about is the Dragon Battle Mage 6. So dragon just means the mage is going to gain the dragon trait. The Battle Mage 6 is really the most important part, which means the mage can attack and is attacked as though it were a level 6 creature. So it's still a mage, it can still evoke cards, it can still task for power, it can still assist other mages. But you've gained the new option of being able to attack with that mage as a level 6, which can be extremely powerful as an additional attacker. And perhaps even more powerful is if your opponent attacks that mage, they've got to deal 6 damage to it in order to break a bond. So if they attack with a level 3, it's going to mark 3 damage onto that mage without breaking a bond, and that mage is simultaneously dealing 6 back to the attacker, which probably killed it if it was a level 3. And so then now your opponent has to attack with another level 3 creature just to deal enough damage to add up to 6 and break a bond. And again, that creature is also going to be taking 6. So Battle Mage 6 is extremely big and annoying, and it not only gives you an extra attacker, but it forces your opponent to figure out a way to get in for enough damage. If they're playing with a bunch of small creatures, it's going to be very tricky. So theoretically, this could be like a growth card, maybe if I really wanted to shove it into another category. But I put it in this wild card section instead. And next up, we've got the Emry evolution chain. So there are 4 3-stage evolutions in the base set. 1 in Ruby, 1 in Orth, 1 in Emry, and 1 in Saf. And again, we've got a combination of traits here. This is an animal and a plant. And as you'll see, there's definitely going to be some growth involved as well. It has the ability that doesn't do anything. It's just a level 1 creature, and it doesn't do anything until it evolves. So if it does evolve, though, the evolution will inherit this ability, and you'll be able to draw a card. Although I did word it before I evolved, so technically the Filkit having the ability is the relevant part here. But it does inherit it, which is important because if you evolve it again, you'll get to trigger that again. So we'll do a sample sequence in a second, but let's look at Chlor Bunny next. So this is the evolution of Filkit. Filkit evolved, meaning you can pay 2 power, the difference between the 1 and the 3, in order to evolve a Filkit into a Chlor Bunny, in which case the Filkit would become Vim for the Chlor Bunny, and the Chlor Bunny would gain this evolution lore ability. And right before you evolve it, you would draw a card from the evolution lore. And then you can have Regenerate Aura. So we saw Regenerate a bit ago on Rose Knight, and especially relevant on Rose Knight because of the Relentless ability, letting Rose Knight attack multiple times. Chlor Bunny is not necessarily giving creatures the ability to attack multiple times, so why do they need to regenerate? Well, maybe you have a Rhino on your team and it just wants to be able to regenerate. But Regenerate also works on defense. So if you've got big creatures and your opponent's going to be like chaining attacks into them to try to team up on them, for example, Regenerate's just going to turn that off. So Regenerate's just like, no, it doesn't matter if it's your turn and you're attacking with it, or whether your opponent is attacking this creature on their turn. Either way, Regenerate is going to come into play, and in between each attack, they're going to heal all damage from them. So if you've got a bunch of big creatures, your opponent's just not going to be able to team up their attacks on your big stuff with Chlor Bunny around. And again, if we evolve the Coral Bunny into the next stage, that stage will inherit this Regenerate Aura, and it could be even more relevant there. So we'll look at our final card here, which is Bonassum. Again, it's an animal and a plant, and Chlorophilanthropy is going to be some growth action as well. So Coral Bunny Evolve, we skipped the kind of explanatory text there, but it does the same thing as any other evolution. So you can start with Filkit, pay 2 to evolve it into Coral Bunny, and then pay 0 to evolve that into Bonassum. And so if you have Filkit and you do evolve it to Coral Bunny, you'll get to draw a card. And then if you have this Coral Bunny with the Filkit still as Vim, perhaps all in the same turn even, you could then evolve into Bonassum and draw another card because Coral Bunny inherited evolution lore. So this full evolution chain rewards you with card draw as well, which can be very powerful, making up for the fact that Filkit does nothing by itself. Roaming is an activated ability that once per turn you can move the Bonassum to another one of your locations. So if you need its Chlorophilanthropy or just another guarding creature or whatever at a different location, you can roam, and roaming doesn't require tasking. So you could even, this is something I do a lot because I have this chain in one of my decks, is to play Filkit all in one turn, wait until I have the full sequence of creatures. Don't just throw out the Filkit for your opponent to pick off. I just wait till I have the whole thing in my hand, and then I play Filkit, evolve it, draw a card, evolve it, draw a card. That only costs 3 power, and I have this extremely powerful Bonassum in play. And then without even tasking it, because it's tasked, because it just came into play, you can still roam it to another one of your locations, and perhaps you take advantage of this Chlorophilanthropy before that, and then roam it, and then do that mage phase and take advantage of Chlorophilanthropy again. So I guess we should look at Chlorophilanthropy. It says my allies and I have gain abilities based on how many Vim I have. So by default, if you've done this evolution chain, it's going to be 2, and 2 means all of this mage's creatures are going to have Ward and Relentless. So now Regenerate Aura looks a lot better now that all our allies in this creature also have Relentless. Ward means your opponent won't be able to choose this for their effects. They can still attack it with normal combat attacks, but they won't be able to target with or choose it with spells or special abilities that would choose a creature. For example, Ice Mantis. So that's really nice. And then the 3+ means that if you manage to get another Vim onto the Bonassum, for example, maybe the cedar size or oaken size we looked at earlier, now the Bonassum and its allies are going to have strength 2, which means they get level +2. So now Bonassum would be level 5, allies would be bigger. So if you play this full evolution chain, maybe you saved up a cedar size as well. Now you've got a level 7 Bonassum, and it's giving its allies level +2, and perhaps they were in play already. So now they can take advantage of the Regenerate Aura, the Strength 2, and the Relentless to shoot off a series of attacks. And then you can roam Bonassum to another location and where you can do the same thing. And that's all without even untasking the Bonassum, because of course, if it is untasked, it can be a big threat as well as a level 3 Relentless Regenerate. And if you hit that Strength 2, it's going to be level 5 Regenerate Relentless, and Ward makes it hard for your opponent to do anything about it. So this is a nice, rewarding evolution chain if you can draw all 3 pieces and pull it off, and if you're able to survive long enough to kind of be able to wait and do that kind of thing. Because if you wait too long, your opponent will just break all your bonds and you'll lose. So anyway, that is a look at the traits and features of Emry. As you can see, Emry is pretty much all about the same kind of thing, which is playing stuff and having it be big. Plants, animals, growth, doesn't really matter. It's green, it's mid-rangey, and it's coming for you. There's certainly some features that, different strategies you can go for. You can try to lean into wild calls with Lure Leaf especially and get that wild drive reward. You can avoid too much synergies and maybe just play the Arboreal Liege or just the Critter Speaker or the wild call as a way to cheaply get a big thing out early without having to risk the new creature too hard. Or you can just play like Suiform Sprout and its big brothers as efficient beaters with some other strategy, maybe just something very straightforward. So I hope you enjoyed this look at the green facet of the Rüniverse. Let me know what your favorite card was in the comments below. Subscribe so we can get more subscribers, and bye.